Hi everyone, my name's Amy Shine. I'm the director at Forbes Preschool. I've been here for, nearly 12 years. Before that, I worked in lots of rural communities. I worked at Canberra, Gilgandra, Walgett, and had a blast of a time out there and learnt lots about inclusion and culture, and was able to bring that back to my community of Forbes, which is very fortunate. When I moved here over 10 years ago, there weren't many Aboriginal children that attended preschool, so we did lots of work in inclusion and partnering with lots of community people. From that, it saw us build lots of enrolments and a massive waitlist. So then we built a new preschool maybe 5 years ago. So we have 180 children at our preschool. We very much prioritise the priority of access guidelines. So that's our Aboriginal children, vulnerable families, children with disabilities, and children in the year before school at our preschool. We've got 26 educators and therapists because we're also NDIS providers. And I absolutely love what I do. Have a fabulous team here, and I can't wait to share our little story with you today. It's when it initially was rolled out. It was during COVID, so that was really tricky times for everyone for so many other reasons. When it was rolled out, we framed it. I was actually at another service helping them at the time, and it had come to them through email, and it was a new director, and she's like, what do I do? So just hang it up on the wall for now. During COVID, so it was just a really simple process at the beginning. We didn't even really talk much about it at the very beginning. So once things settled down and once we got into the groove of how we were going to work during COVID, it was probably a good time because then we were doing lots of Zoom meetings together and thinking of different ways where we could communicate. So it was a time for us to unpack it a bit. And initially it was just about unpacking, well, let's rethink about our last assessment rating visit. Let's go back and unpack the areas. It was just a time for us just to consolidate and refresh. And I mean, they're things that we're always doing anyway, all of us. But I guess it just got us thinking again and thinking about how do we get all of our other stakeholders involved. So that includes our families, our community, our management committee. I think it's a timely document. It's a time, we need things to change, we need things to refresh. The same as our program, we have that on display for our families. But if we don't change it up a little bit about how it looks, it just becomes a bit complacent. So I guess that document was a bit the same. But once we received our rating, our notice, it was time, and I guess there was things that we were doing anyway because we just felt like we needed to start engaging a bit more with our families and our community about what do the quality areas mean, how does it look, and when we were looking at the exceeding things, we were thinking about how are our families involved. So it's been a way for us to share so we've been doing little newsletter bites, we've been trying to talk to families about little snippets of what do the quality areas look like, not the whole big picture, because I think that's a bit much for anyone. Here's one that we've done recently. So it's about how does it look at our service, and we've also included the ratings visual there so that families can become familiar with what it looks like. And then if they see it somewhere else, they can think, oh yeah, I've seen that document before. It's made us be really thoughtful, and with how we share it with our management committee. So I've actually just shared some documentation with them again this morning about the national quality standards and what's it all looking like and what's their role. So they're things that we're always doing, but it's just making sure we're doing it continually. So I am so proud to say I've actually been away since we got our assessment rating notes. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to come back and have so much work to do. But I am so proud to say I came back on Friday from a couple of weeks away, and my whole team got together and they were determined to have it all done. And I think that's a really good change. It doesn't take one person to do anything. We're really fortunate we have higher staff to child ratio, so the girls have time off the floor to do things like this. We have the allocated release time for all the rooms. We have lots of, you call them subcommittees or little squads, where they'll get together and they'll work on different things. So that might be work health and safety. It might be the program. It might be, we have a SPOT program, which is speech pathology OT program. So we have lots of different groups. So And in our governance structure, there's lots of different ways that we all report to each other, so it's not one person that's in charge of anything. So yeah, I can't begin to say how proud I am of our team that I've come back and they've actually written our self-assessment document, which we've been working on. They just had to collate everything together. But yeah, they had they was empowered enough that they could do that. Yeah, and I think that's what strong leadership is, where we're not the ones thinking we have to do everything ourselves. It's so not about that. I guess with the management committee too, it's as much about continual improvement, because I feel like that's more probably of their role. So looking at what are our quality areas and our quality standards, and how does that fit with our strategic planning, and how does that fit with where we want to move forward. And this document supports that as well, because that just shows, and then they can look at what do we need to improve on, what have we done well in, and why. I really do believe that as educators, we are all equally champions and we're all equally leaders. It doesn't matter if you're a trainee, a Cert 3 diploma, we are all leaders in our own right. Yeah, I can't strongly enough advocate for that we're all leaders and it doesn't take one person. And as I said, my educators, I've come back and it was a Cert 3, a diploma and a teacher, even though we've got, 5 teachers here. There was a different cohort of people that sat together and unpacked it and wrote the document. But just because they wrote the document doesn't mean that everyone else wasn't equally involved, because those other people were out there looking after the children, or they were involved during conversations, or, we are all equally involved. It does not take the executive team I just believe that everyone is equally involved.